Sis, what if I told you that the church is unintentionally keeping women single and fueling the divorce crisis? So today I want to reveal 6 mistakes that the church is making that is keeping women single. Number 1, if you have been single any length of time, you have had all sorts of advice of do this and do this and do this. And when you do these things, oh, honey, then your husband is going to come. Oh, you're still single because you haven't done this. You're still single because you haven't done that. But what I want to tell you today is that, baby, there is no algorithm to getting a husband. I know you have seen women in relationships with a good man and like, well, God, what? She been over here fighting. Lord, she done did this. I know her background. And she got a man. That's because there is no algorithm to getting a husband. There are so many different factors and things that come into play. Do not allow people to toy with you and make you feel like there's something wrong with you because you're still single. The devil is a liar. There is no algorithm. The church is telling you that there's an algorithm, but there isn't one. Number 2, the church is telling you that you shouldn't consider this man or this man because the two of you are not equally yoked. The two of you are not equally yoked because you got a master's degree and he don't. The two of you are not equally yoked because you have a PhD and he has a GED. Honey, that's where I was when my husband and I met. That man's credit score, that man's level of education, the amount of money that man has in his checking account, it has nothing to do with you being equally yoked. Major factor in you all being equally yoked. Yes, it does come into play in mentality, okay? But if you're with someone that has a traumatic background and they need to heal through things, their ability to walk through that healing and get healed is going to change where their mentality is. If you have a person that has a great calling on their life, but they are coming out of a lot of trauma that they've not healed from, it's going to look like they are not equally yoked from you. And what is the point of having a helpmate, according to Genesis 2:18, if when you come in, you want him already where he needs to be, and you don't want to do any type of helping, any type of help meeting. A helpmeet, according to Genesis 2:18, says that we are to be suitable, adaptable, and complementary to our kings. There is something that you're going to need to help that man with. Baby, it might be building his credit. It might be helping him walk through healing in some areas. But if you're looking for someone that is already the perfect package, you are going to count out some men who have great callings on their lives that just need a little bit of help. Just because you've been able to reach a certain level of success in your life, which is wonderful. But I want you to consider this. Men and women are different. Women tend to be physically modest, whereas men tend to be emotionally modest. Women, since we were little girls, have been taught to process our emotions, talk about our feelings. Our culture does not teach men to do that. It's not as culturally acceptable for men to do that. But yet we expect them to come into relationships emotionally mature and able to process through emotions. But if they've been taught to do different in our culture, we're going to need to give them some space and some grace to learn to do that within a relationship. Oh, that deserves a message in and of itself. Stop minimizing being equally yoked to things that are natural, such as credit scores and levels of education and jobs, careers, and those things. Being equally yoked has much more to do with your destinies and what you are called to. If you are a missionary that is called to travel the globe and spend time with locals in places way out in the jungle, how are you going to be with a person that is called to, let's say, right here in Huntsville, Alabama, and to build and have a local church there? You're not equally yoked. So being equally yoked doesn't have anything to do with the credit score. Number 3, the church in general, I will say, provides zero training when it comes to marriage preparation. I live in Huntsville, Alabama, and I'll tell you, when I was wanting to prepare for marriage because for me, it just made natural sense. I knew that the example that I had growing up was not good. And I knew that if I didn't receive training to unlearn what I knew and to learn something better and healthier, I would end up repeating what I saw growing up in my parents. I would end up repeating what I saw in other relationships. And so I went to the church. I remember begging them, please let me sit in on your marriage conferences because I want to learn. And they looked at me like I was crazy. When I say I begged, in a literal sense, I begged. I would say, I'll sit on the back. I won't interfere. I'll be quiet. And I do understand wanting there to be some privacy, but there were no options to purchase anything afterwards. And every single singles ministry that I was a part of was a waste of time because all they were teaching people was don't be out here humping. Okay, got it. Sex is for marriage. Tell me something else. Talk to me about what to do with what I'm feeling while I am single. How do I deal with I'm saved but horny at the same time? Can you talk to me about how do I know whether or not this person is the one? Can you talk to me about how to process and communicate with a man? Because what I found out as I did my own learning outside of the church, I can't talk to a king the way I talk to my girlfriends. So there was no training. And the way the church in general is set up is you learn how to be a wife after you've gotten into marriage and then messed it up. That's when they want to help. That don't make no natural sense. Number 4, and this one really irks my nerves. The church advises you to get a man within the church, but statistically speaking, they're not in there. Now, I'm not advising you to get somebody that is not a Christian. The word of God says to not yoke yourself with an unbeliever. So that's not what I'm telling you to do. But what I am saying is that there are men who are Christian, who are followers of Christ. They just don't belong to a local church. And so your first question when you meet a man is, what church do you go to? And if he tells you he don't go to church, you you can't be my man of God. Boo, slow down. Especially now that we are in this post-COVID-19 era, there are a lot of people who don't belong to a local body. So before you count that man out, you need to get some more information and find out where he is spiritually, because he may be a follower of Christ and just not belonging to a local assembly. Number 5, I see people giving advice on look for these things within a man, but it hurts my heart when I listen to pastors and other ministerial leaders and they don't include seeking God. Why on earth would you want to make a decision that is going to impact the rest of your life and impact your children and you not seek the Lord? Listen, God will be a part of any area of your life that you would invite him into. I highly encourage you to simply ask God. I'm not saying to over spiritualize the situation, but I am encouraging you to ask the Lord, what are you saying about this person? And asking spiritual leadership, because you need to have somebody else in your life with some sense. Number 6, and this is a biggie, and I know I'm going to catch some flack on this one, but the church teaches that marriage takes 2. But I am here to tell you that for a season, I'm not saying the entirety of the marriage, I'm saying for a season, it can just be one, because a sanctified wife can sanctify a husband. And so for those that are already married and like, he ain't doing what he need to do, she ain't doing what she need to do, for a season, you can cover them. For a season, you can create an atmosphere that is conducive for their healing and deliverance, to help them get to a space to where with their own free will, they can choose to fight for the marriage and make the relationship better. For a season, it is possible.